Hey everyone, we're talking today about supporting and integrating your product. These are valuable last stages of the product development lifecycle, making sure your product is supported well, is stable, is understood well by your customer support team, and then of course integrating your product. You may have done some of this already internally with integrations, but also integrating it with other products, maybe building an API so others can integrate with you. There are a lot of items to cover here that I've learned through releasing a lot of products. And while it's at the end of the cycle, these stages can be incredibly important for making sure your product is a success for years to come and can be built on by other product managers and other developers on different teams for years to come. So although this is at the very end and we've already gone through many, many stages of product development, it's critical that you still keep focus and your team still keeps focus in these final stages to make sure you have a stable product for the future. So with that, we will jump right in. So I don't want to scare you, but after you launch a product, you really own it forever. So even early on in my first product role at Vistaprint Digital, the projects that I did, I think one of the first ones was internationalizing the webs.com website and a website builder. So you'd be able to build in Spanish, you'd be able to build in Portuguese, you'd be able to build in French, German, you name it. I think we did 15 different languages. And that was my first release. But guess what? When any issues came up with that in the future, or anything happened with that product or another team was building in that area of the code, they knew that that was the feature that my team and I built, right? I was the person who did web's internationalization. So, after you launch a product, you own it forever. Again, not intended to be scary, more just intended to share that, that product is not just part of your portfolio. It's not just a bullet point on a resume. It is living and breathing out there. There are other people who are going to encounter it on your team. There's a support team that's going to have to support it. There's a marketing team that's going to continue to market it. There are going to be many, many other people working on that feature, even if you are no longer working on that feature anymore. And so on the positive side, your product will, support your future goals. If you build something really great with your team, that's a great thing to show off, at your current company. It's a great thing to show off to future companies that you may want to join. But if it's negative, it's like an anchor, or I say a friend from high school you can't get rid of. It's just going to stick on you. You're not going to be able to use that as a bullet point in your resume or on your LinkedIn, or you're not even going to be able to talk about that, because if someone goes and checks that out and sees how poorly that product was built, that's pretty poor reflection on you as a product manager. And so just keep that in mind. And again, I mentioned in the introduction, you want to make sure your product has a strong landing, a strong foundation before you move on to the next thing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And just, the stakes are pretty high. You want to make sure you leave a good product before you move on.